Welcome to Chronicle Live over on Facebook. Hope you guys are all doing well. Newcastle drew 1-1 with Wolves down at Molineux, and it wasn't the best of games by any stretch of the imagination, and it ended, like we say, 1-1. Probably the result many had predicted, given that the fixtures between Newcastle and Wolves tend to end in draws. 8 of the last 11 have ended in draws, and the last 4 games have all ended 1-1. So 1-1 seemed to be the predictable score. Jacob Murphy, man of the match for me. I don't know about you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. But he scored it with 2 minutes to go. A clever free kick, although you can blame the wall. You can blame the Wolves keeper for not being really at it. So Wilson wins the free kick. Again, questionable decision, really. Look, he was kind of nudged by Cody, the referee, give it on the edge to the right of the box. You have Fabian Schär, you have Almiron standing over the ball, and then you have Murphy, and the ball is put round the outside of the wall and sneaks in between the keeper and the post. The keeper kind of pushes it into the corner. The wall just isn't over far enough, and the keeper probably should do a little bit better. But again, that's him organising his wall. And what do we care? We wanted Newcastle to get back onto level terms, and level terms they got back onto, which was great. The game itself really wasn't anything to write home about. Both teams kind of play, they kind of invite the pressure on. Wolves are very good passers of the ball, and they're quite good to watch, but they don't create too many chances. And today, again, was another case of that. Carl Darlow had to make one decent save in the first half. Alan St. Maximin saw a shot deflected, which the Wolves keeper had to bid his best to save. But other than that, there was nothing really that stood out in the first half. Wolves were on top. Newcastle created very little of any substance. Jacob Murphy, who was playing right wing back, and I think that surprised a few people, had a very decent game in the first half. He made a couple of good interceptions, got a good header to a ball when Newcastle had pushed up, and had he missed that header, Wolves would have been through. A couple of key interceptions and a couple of good passes into the box as well. There was one where Callum Wilson was played down the right. The defender recovered, but it was a great pass by Jacob Murphy, and he put another decent cross in as well just before the end of the half. So he did well, and he was actually man of the match. Like we say, he gets the equaliser, and he continued his good show in the first half in the second. But really, in the second, it was all about Newcastle dealing with Wolves. Neto fired over from just inside the box just after the second half got underway, and it really should have been 1-0. It was on his weaker foot, and he put it over the bar. Had that been on his left foot, you could argue that was probably in. It should have been on target at the very least. Newcastle got very lucky there. And Wolves just kind of spent the rest of the half just peppering Newcastle, didn't they? Without really creating too much. Traore then comes on. You know, we know he's a beast. We know he's got power. He's got skill. And he was down the wings. And he gave Jamal Lewis a bit of a tough time. A couple of crosses put into the box. We saw Jimenez have a shot from the edge of the box, collected. Lascelles had to defend a couple of crosses. And it looked like Newcastle might sneak away with a point, as they have done, as they did do. And then Raul Jimenez hits one from the edge of the box. As a free kick comes in, it's clear to him on the edge of the box. He takes a touch and fires it into the corner. Now, you could argue Longstaff and Joelinton, they kind of stopped and backed off him. Should they get out quicker? Potentially. Should Darlow have saved it? Again, you could argue, yes, if you see the replays, he gets a hand to it and should do a little bit better. The ball's always swerving, though. It's a good effort, and it was 1-0. And from then, Newcastle just hadn't created anything in that second half. So you were wondering how were they going to get back into it. And to be fair to Newcastle, they responded really well. They actually went forward. They were in the Wolves half for the most time of the whole game, I think. And a few crosses here and there. And then, like we say, Wilson fouls, and then Murphy gets the goal. And it looked like it was either going to be Almiron or Schär to take it. It was a bit of a training ground move, I think. And then obviously round the corner. And it's a good point. Newcastle, though, they're going to have to create a bit more. It was a bit of a weird setup from Steve Bruce with Jacob Murphy playing right wing back. But Ryan Fraser started. Almiron was in there. St. Maximin was in there. St. Maximin didn't have the best of games. He looked a bit off the pace, and that's probably the biggest worry for Newcastle, isn't it? That when he's not on top of his game, Newcastle struggles. Shelvey is going to be out for what seems quite a long time because he's going to have an operation tomorrow. It's a hernia operation, so we're going to have to see how long it takes him to recover. And Newcastle did look like they missed Shelvey, and I know, let me know in the comments, I know Shelvey splits opinion because he's not always effective with what he does. But when he's playing, at least he's looking to create. Every time Newcastle got forward, the ball went sideways or came back. And that's why they just didn't create. Wilson was very isolated, didn't get too many touches, didn't get too many balls put into him. And, we know Shelvey, really does divide opinion. But Newcastle, without him, they just look like they haven't got too much creativity. And then it's all put upon St. Maximin, who just didn't really perform today. Jeff Hendrick was in the middle. Didn't impress me. I don't know about you guys. I wasn't overly impressed by Hendrick, but he's not really the creator as he for someone like Shelvey. So we will see what happens against Everton next weekend. Just looking at the comments here, Murphy's goal just papers over the cracks. 4 shots, only 2 on target, says JW Muss. And that is a fair point, and we'll be interested to see what Steve Bruce says in his press conference after this game, which will be getting underway very soon. He's probably already spoken to Sky as I'm doing this. Yeah, it's a valid point, but it's better to have that debate, I think, isn't it, with a point in the bag. Newcastle unbeaten on the road this season in 3 games. I think they've got 8 points. So, it's better to have collected that point and have that discussion than to go back to Tyneside on the back of a defeat, second defeat in a row, and go in this Everton game next weekend. It's good to get that point. I agree that the free kick looked a bit dodgy. The decision to give it, yes, there's a few people in the comments saying that. But overall, look, Newcastle get a point. It's exactly what you'd want from going behind so late on in the game as well. And hopefully Newcastle can build on it. It's certainly going to be interesting to see what he does in the next 2 games for this international break, because does he stick with this formation? I thought they defended quite well, actually. Wolves peppered. They didn't do too much to really test Newcastle, but I thought Lascelles had a decent game. The defence as a whole worked well together. Fabian Schär a bit careless in possession, so that's going to have to tighten up if he's going to stay in the team. But yeah, I think Newcastle defended quite well, didn't create enough, so they will have to improve on that. But you go up against Everton, like I say, next, and you're going to be defending, aren't you? So not the worst result in the world. Put your thoughts about this game in the comments. We'll be bringing you all the reaction, the match coverage, the quotes, etc. Thank you very much for joining.